Hello everybody, we are back here and I'm back with Stewart again. This is Physics of Creation, Física de la Creación. I am István Locse and I welcome you again in my channel. Stewart, how are you?
Hello István, good to be here again.
Okay, it seems to me that we are getting very big interest from people. I'm getting lots of questions actually. I cannot ask all the questions because really we have a lot. Now the thing is that I was thinking about what if we do a session only for questions?
Yes, of course.
Why not? Okay, so
yeah, makes sense.
Makes sense. And I would like, because I have here lots of questions, so I would like to make them better in a different session, because from now on we will start, and I say this to everyone, we will start a series about the true world history of mankind, and I want to tell all that actually we were thinking to do collaboration between me and Stewart to make some comparisons of what he knows, what he will tell us, and what I know actually, because I did my research also, and people already know, especially Spanish people, South American people, who already know my work in all this research about Arvisuras, about Taos caves, and more. And there are, for example, Anton Park's research too. So there are many things that we would have to match them, and let's see if something doesn't match, to discard or just disregard or I don't know what. So, or maybe discover something that is just disinformation, right? So Stewart, I would like to start with the beginning of the beginning. Well, not getting back to Big Bang, neither, but as far as you can reach in history, backward. So let's start as far as you can reach, as you have knowledge about, of course. But first of all, please tell us, how do you know this history? How did you get there? All right.
For my 13 years at the Montauk Project, one of the main things they wanted to do was learn about galactic history and Earth history, what really happened. We had information that certain alien groups gave us, and we needed to verify if it was true. And so when we worked at Montauk, as you know, we did a lot of time travel. And we did a lot of scanning into the past. And so we actually, in the beginning, actually scanned history by going back in time, and then actually sending people as, how shall we say, anchors, we called them. People who went to observe only, not to participate, but only to observe what actually happened in the past. So, and this was part of the work that I did as well.
And how far a person went? How far back in time?
Billions of years.
Oof. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Billions. And the universe is much older than we have been told by scientists. I believe officially they say the universe is somewhere between 13 and 14 billion years old. But in effect, we knew it was more than 20 billion years old. And that's just this universe, because there's infinite universes.
Parallel.
Yes, you can call parallel, alternate, there's many ways to describe.
All right, good. Then we know, as you talk about in your books, that in order for the humankind to come up, we can get back in time to the appearance, let's say to the moment when draconians came into our galaxy. So how far can you reach in history? Where is the point we can start with?
Well, we must first recognize that the Draco Empire existed in our galaxy. It was in the Draco star system, so they were in our Milky Way galaxy. But if we go back about 1 billion years, we see the creation of the Lyrian star system, and I don't want to call it an empire, I'll call it civilization, which was the origin of all humanity in this galaxy. It was in Lyrae star system. And they were very peaceful, and they were very energetic. In other words, the body was not so physical like we have now. It was more etheric, energetic. And so they could, for example, pick an apple off a tree, and immediately another apple appears, like that.
Wow.
It was very high energy, very high energy. But then certain things happened, which I wrote about in, I believe, Montauk Alien Connection book and Blue Blood book. In one of the alternate universes, parallel universe, there was an empire that controlled many, many galaxies. It was like a dictatorship, totalitarian dictatorship. And there was a group of people who created a device that enabled them to physically go from that universe into this universe. And they entered into Lyrian star system. These were very physical people, very physical. And the Lyrians were very, let's say, interdimensional.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lyrians became so enamored of the physical body that they learned very bad things from these people, and they became more physical.
So
that's the original fall from grace. When the Bible talks about fall from grace, this is what it means.
All right.
And so many, many, many millennia passed after that time period, and the Lyrians became more physical. But still, they did not develop weapons, they did not develop war, they were not like that. Now, at the same time, in the Draco star system, reptilian beings were being created. We know from Montauk Project and what we witnessed, there were beings that we called clear people. They were like glass. They looked like glass.
Transparent.
And they were very, yes. For some reason, they created a reptilian race in Draco star system. Spiritually, we feel it was on purpose to test humanity, but this is just a theory. Anyway, over time, the reptilians developed a very powerful civilization in the Draco star system, and they had seven different reptilian species that were like a caste system, like the Hindus have caste system. These species had a caste system. Make a very long story short. Yes, hierarchy, yeah, but more strict. But to make a very long story short, the reptilians decided that they were superior to all other creations. Why?
Just a second. Don't do it short.
Yeah.
Don't do it short. We will make this in sessions. So tell everything you can. All right.
Okay, I do the best I can.
All right.
But the reptilians believe they are superior because they are androgynous, meaning male and female in same body. And they know that when you go into the spiritual, there's no gender. There is only energy. So they feel because they are androgynous makes them superior to mammalian beings that have to split to male and female. That's one. Next thing is, genetically, reptilians never change. Millions of years go by and they stay the same. But mammals, humans, must change. They must constantly adapt. So to the reptilian mind, they feel mammals are inferior. So the reptilians decided that they would go out into the galaxy and fix this, to assimilate all of the non-reptilian beings to make like them. Mm-hmm. You see? And that's where they Hollywood got the idea from the movie, the Borg from Star Trek, where it says you will be assimilated and resistance is futile. This is from the reptilians. This comes from the reptilians.
But one more, excuse me. There is more, because, for example, as we take the movie, we could compare the reptilians with, for example, there was another race in the movie called the Klingons. Can we make a comparison to them? I mean, as kind of
yes.
The behavior, at least.
Yeah, the Klingon in the Star Trek films, the Klingons were based on the Draco.
All right.
They were based on that. We must remember that the originator of Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry, worked for the Illuminati. He was Illuminati worker. So they told him what to do. And so most of those stories are based on similar truthings. Mm-hmm. So yes. And I must say, for people who maybe read certain information, the universe is actually very warlike. We have so much war on this planet, but in space there's even more. Many races are attacking each other all of the time. It's a very dangerous place, and I say the Earth is in a bad neighborhood. It's a very bad neighborhood. Very dangerous around here. But anyway, so the Draco had an agenda, still do, to go out and to find different civilizations and assimilate them. So they found the Lyrians.
Just next to them, right? Just next to them. If we see the sky, there is Draco constellation. Just next to them is Lyra, with Vega, right?
Yes.
Vega is one of the star systems.
Yes. And so they attacked the star system, and the Lyrians are not prepared for such things, and it was destroyed. But there were survivors who went out into different parts of the galaxy, and they formulated many other races that we now know. They adapted to different conditions, they changed genetically, etc.
At that point, excuse me, don't forget. At that point appears a question, because I'm sure about that people will ask. If the Lyrians had not any technology, how could they travel outside?
They had technology. They did not have weapons.
All right.
The idea of weapons didn't even come in their mind.
Okay.
They had no enemies. But they had technology. Yes. Remember, they were existing hundreds of millions of years, Anyway, I need to go to another side story.
All right.
Because this will involve our solar system.
All right.
Originally, our solar system was very different than it is now. The Earth was in the second position around the sun. Yeah. And there was the planet Mercury, and then there was Earth, and then there was Mars, which was very Earth-like, atmosphere and oceans also. Then there was a big planet that was called Maldek, also very Earth-like. And then came Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And that was it.
Now, excuse me, as I told you, I must intervene. That matches exactly with Anton Park's version of the history. Exactly. But he, instead calling Maldek that planet, he calls that planet Mulje or Mulje or Molj. I don't know how to pronounce it in English.
It's
Molji.
In different language.
In different
it
language.
Can be so in different language.
Yeah. So that's matches. Okay. Okay. Please continue.
Yeah. But so at that time, there was a galaxy very close to our Milky Way. And we know our Milky Way is like a pinwheel. Pinwheel has arms that come out like this.
Yeah.
Yes? And we exist on the end of one of the arms.
Mm-hmm.
Comes out. There was another galaxy that collided with this part of where we are, into this part of the... But we must remember, when galaxies collide, it's not a crash. It's like blends in, and the bigger one pulls in the stars from the smaller one. Mm-hmm. It's like that, like merges.
All right.
In this, and today we can still see the remains of that galaxy near us. We can still see. In this other galaxy was an empire of beings that were like winged scorpions.
Wow.
Winged scorpions. And they were amphibious. And it was a very hostile empire. When that galaxy collided, they transferred, because their star was going to explode, they transferred to this planet. This planet at that time was only water. The Earth was only water, even in the atmosphere. And so these creatures lived in our oceans, and there were only few mountaintops that existed, and what is now Arizona, Utah, parts of Asia, that's what was above the water. And so these scorpions, beings, they were beings. They came here. They became the first archons. They are the original archons. There were two kinds. One was a golden winged version, maybe 2 meters long. Another, the soldiers were black scorpions. They were very mean, not nice. And there was sometimes battles between the two groups in the oceans of this planet. And interestingly, only last year, in 2015, in South Africa, they finally uncovered fossilized remains of this group.
I didn't knew that.
Yes, in South Africa, they found it. Exactly as I described it, this is what they found. And so, they remained on this planet long time. So that was going on while the Draco were attacking Lyra. You understand?
Yeah.
So, some of the refugees from Lyra looking for places to live, and they found this solar system. They found the planet Mars and planet Maldek because they had atmosphere and oceans. And so they colonized it, and they lived on these worlds for a long time. The Draco always search and search, and they found these colonies. Many millennia later, they found them, thousands of years later. And so, they sent into our solar system an ice comet. In front of the ice comet, they have a small black hole that acts as a propulsion unit. It pulls the ice comet. Inside the ice, yeah.
But how? I don't know if you have information on that. How could they? How you say that? Orient the black hole itself.
They create it from the mechanism. The ice comet is a natural planet that is manipulated artificially. And they have a technology that pulls in dark matter from other universes and puts it together in one concentration, and then electromagnetically they can steer that concentrated black hole. They have this technology. Some of what they have we would think is magic, but to them is normal. So they pulled this ice comet in, and as the ice comet passed Uranus, it caused Uranus to flip on its axis. Uranus is the only known planet that rotates north to south. It does not spin east to west, no. North to south, like something's turned it over. Came by. Then, when the ice comet came close to Jupiter, Maldek, and Mars, the pull, the geomagnetic pull altogether caused Maldek to explode. And that's why we have an asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, because Maldek exploded. Many of the refugees, the survivors, before it exploded, they went to Mars. Mars has an underground. It's hollow like the Earth. Some planets have hollow center. Earth and Mars are like that. I explained that in a different session.
All right.
Yes. Then as the ice comet came close to Mars, it pulled off the atmosphere and the oceans. And the northern hemisphere of Mars, 3 kilometers of topsoil is missing. Like something pulled it off.
Wow.
So when you look at Mars, it's not round. It goes around and then indents because the top was pulled off. They went also underground. Then the ice comet approached the Earth, and the Earth and the ice comet started to spin around each other, and it polarized the water on the Earth and created ice caps, north and south, and land appeared in the oceans. That's when the scorpions went inside. They went inside the Earth, because there's openings in the North Pole and the South Pole. I will also explain that another time.
All right.
Finally, the ice comet took up the second position from the sun and pushed the Earth to the third position. Then the light from the sun caused the ice to melt and form clouds around this comet, and it became the planet Venus. That's what it comes from. Interesting. 1988, Soviet Union sent a spacecraft to Venus with a special camera to transmit underneath the clouds. When they got underneath the clouds, they found 7 domed areas on the surface, equal size. And it was in the front page of New York Times, London Times, all the newspapers had this, and NASA said it was natural formation. 7 equal domes.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
how you say, God play dice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Of course.
But we know there are 7 species, so it makes sense that they each have separate living. Then Soviet Union collapsed, no more information. 30 years later, so it was just a couple of years ago, Russian scientists look again at the photograph, and they said, oh, we see 3 different types of creatures on the surface. They identify a scorpion, a reptilian, and a spider. Gigantic ones. Gigantic ones. This was on news, CNN, BBC, all the major news. You can look up on Google. Then story was stop. No more story. See? So the Russians proved that there is creatures on Venus. It's not so hot like the scientists tell you it is. It's very different. What you learn in school is very different than the truth.
Of course.
Yeah.
Stewart, for today we are getting to the end.
Yeah.
Yes. And so don't forget where you remained. All right. To continue.
You don't forget.
I will not. We will have the video anyway. All right then.
Yeah.
So we will continue from this particular moment and nothing more. This will become really, really exciting and really, really interesting, of course. Just to add that the part you mentioned about the Venus making, let's say like that, dancing twist, right, with Earth, but also there is a version calculated by Anton Parks and by Gary Zeitling, for example, to explain this particular information. But the only difference is that, as Anton Parks, this Venus, this comet, it was conduced on its path by Enlil himself. All right, you know who it is, right?
Yes, this is
right.
From the Sumerian tablet.
All right. The thing what doesn't match is the dates of that. I mean, when does that happen actually? So next time I will ask you to give us some dates, if you can, some moments, to some references to place the moment of that happening, to that occurrence. All right. Okay, that's all for us, people. Thank you for all to watching and to listen, and we meet next time. All right, and thank you, Stewart, again. I don't know if you have something more to say for the moment.
Well, I appreciate the interview and the Latin audience. I appreciate very much.
Okay, and to remember to everyone, you will be in Spain. Now we have a date, maybe 25 or 26 of September this year. All right, so prepare. Anyone who want to come to your session, to your seminar, they can contact you directly, or me by Facebook or by Skype. I will let here down here below the video all the dates, all the connections you can find. All right. Thank you again. A big hug to everyone. See you later. Bye bye.